When you look at me, you can see that I had a life of pain, life of hurt, life of destruction, and I was headed nowhere fast. See, I got a right to be bitter. I have a right to be angry. And yeah, I can go around and I can make every excuse of why I am the way that I am. But at the same time, I had to make a huge choice in the decision that I could continue to allow this stuff to cripple me, continue to hold me back so that I never reach my dreams, so that I never reach the expectations that God has put inside of me. Or I could choose to forgive. Sometimes we think that forgiveness is about the other person, but in reality, forgiveness is about you. You see, some of the things that we've experienced and we face, other people have already forgotten about those incidents. But you remember them. And I'm not saying that they'll go away. But what I'm saying, there is a freedom inside of us when we learn to forgive and to let go. I was doing an internship in Live Oak, Florida, had a weed eater in my hand. And I remember going to my host family and I said to them, I said, for some reason I feel like I need to go home and forgive my mom. Here I am at 21, going home to forgive my mom. I'm driving and I'm in tears and saying, I don't want to hold this against her anymore. I don't want to hold this pain. And when I get there, I talk to my mom and I say, you know what? I forgive you for everything that we've ever experienced, everything that we've been through. And I remember the tears flowing down her face, saying that I waited for so long to hear you say that. I knew when you came home from school that you couldn't stand being around me. See, I didn't know a year and a half later that she would pass away. And I got to go home and be with her the last month and a half of her life. But if I would have kept that bitterness and that unforgiveness in me, I would have never had that opportunity. You know, the last month and a half before my mom passed away was our greatest moments. And as I'm leaving my mom's funeral, the same guy who locked us in a room that night comes flying down the road, waving his hand out of the car, asking us to stop. And when he got out of the car, he said, I'm sorry, man, about everything that happened when you was a kid. I didn't know that you remember that stuff. I didn't know that it affected you like that. And I remember being able to look him in his eyes and say, I forgive you. The freedom and the peace that I have now in my life because I was able to forgive is a peace like no other. You know, think about that incident. Think about what happened to you. Maybe you was raped. Maybe you were beat. Maybe your parents rejected you. How does that make you feel? But I got another question to ask. How long will you hold on to it? Are you ready to let it go and live the life that God has planned for you? You see, you're only one step away from your freedom. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but this I do know. When you learn to forgive, you learn to live and to live free.